Hey everyone, welcome to Tonic Thursday. This week I've had a look at shoulder health in a couple of my videos. The first was just a TRX circuit you could do, plug into your daily routine or as a warm-up for your workouts to keep your shoulders and upper back happy and healthy. And then on Tuesday I delved into the face pull, which is the last part of that circuit, a little bit more closely. The face pull it can be done on a TRX trainer with resistance bands, with cables in the gym, and it's just a fantastic insurance policy to keep your upper back and shoulders happy and healthy and strong. What I'm going to look at today though is the flip side of that. So the face pull in particular is a nice remedy to what we see, which is very common these days, is this rounded shoulder posture, which comes from working at the computer all day, our whole life pretty much being in front of us. So we're trying to find a way to combat that to some extent. Now, strengthening is an excellent part of that, but we also need to think about, well, if we're sitting in this posture all the time, what's possibly tightened, what's shortened, which is exacerbating the situation. So we want to stretch what's tight at the front, but then we want to strengthen what is weak at the back. And then we start to see some real progress. So what I'm going to show you fairly quickly today is firstly a release and then a stretch, which I'm going to combine with a couple of original strength resets to see if we can't get happier shoulders, general upper back and posture in a short amount of time, well, for a short amount of input. So the release I'm going to show you is the Pec Minor Release today. And the Pec Minor, without going into too much detail, is a small muscle which sits under the larger chest muscles. It attaches the front of our body to the back of the body. So it attaches at the front and then it also attaches to our shoulder blades. So if it's in any way shortened or tighter than it should be, it can have an impact on what's happening on the back side of the body. So it's a really good, it's a muscle that you want to target. It's not a lot of fun to target it. If it is inflamed or angry, it will talk to you, but it is definitely worth your effort. It will hurt so good. So the Pec Minor, if coming a little bit closer here, it sits under this large muscle and you can't access it with your arm down to the side. So you need to bring it up to about 90 degrees, okay? Once you're in there, you'll be able to feel in underneath this muscle. And where you're actually looking, it's very close to the armpit, but just off to the side of the armpit. Some people try to release it by coming over too far. They're in the middle of the chest here, and really you're not doing anything there to find a Pec Minor. So if I were digging in with a finger, you'll always get to this point where you feel the finger clunk. It clunks over the top of that muscle. And then you're gonna have to, and you're gonna find the Pec Minor muscle. So once you've found it, okay, and you know where it is, then we're gonna apply this by using a lacrosse ball, and I'm gonna swing the camera around in a second, and we're gonna wedge this lacrosse ball against a door frame so that we can use our body weight to lean in against it. And once we've leaned in against it, we're gonna have our arm up at about 90 degrees. We're gonna start working through internal and external rotation whilst we're leaning onto that ball. We might lift the arm up and down a little bit, but we're not gonna really come below 90 degrees with that. And then after that, we're going to give it a stretch, but we're going to add in some head nods and head turns whilst we're stretching to enhance that stretch. So I'll flip this camera around now and come for a ride. I said I've got to get a haircut soon because I'm starting to look like the lost cast member of Bill and Ted Face the Music, but maybe after COVID's finished. So a bit of length yet to go. Right, I'm rambling. We're going to find this clunk, okay? It's right next to, but not in the armpit. Once we've found it, we're going to stick a ball in it. Oh yeah, I found it, okay? And then from there, I'm pulling the arm back so it's in line with my body. If you can't, if it's forward, and that may be the case, that's cool. Just do the best you can. And from there, I'm holding the ball in place with the other hand. I'm going to start to internally and externally rotate my arm whilst leaning on that spot. Lift it a little bit, lower it, just trying to really dial in on that muscle. It'll take a bit of tinkering if you've never done this before to find that spot, but you'll know when you've found it. Once you've done that for 30 to 60 seconds, or longer if you want, but I wouldn't go too crazy with it, you're then going to do the other side. And once you've done the other side, we're going to do a doorway chest stretch to finish. So get rid of that now. But the doorway chest stretch is very simply placing an arm in a doorway and then rotating the body away from that doorway to get a stretch. But what I like to do, I'm just going to flick this slightly, is to add in some head nods. So looking up, letting the head follow, looking down, and also some head turns. And again, I'm letting the eyes lead the movement. While you're doing this, I'd suggest having breathing through your nose with the tongue pressed on the roof of the mouth. But and I'll show you what this looks like, is I'm going to turn away. Once I've got a good stretch, first thing I'm just going to start looking up and down. So I might do 5 to 10 of those, and then I'm going to start looking left to right. Okay, so, and then you do the other side. What those head nods do, we've already got the stretch going on, is one, it does change the traction on that muscle a little bit, but two, by looking up and letting the eyes lead the head, we are feeding our vestibular system, the system that lets us know where we are spatially, whether we're upright or whether we're on angle. It's feeding that information, and that information is going to the brain, and the more information and the better the information the brain gets, the better decisions it can make about our posture and also about how to give us more mobility. So I think it's a really nice addition to just a standard doorway chest stretch. So that's the Tonic Thursday tip today. A Pec Minor Release. Again, arm needs to come up to at least 90 degrees. You're going to be looking for that spot where you can dig in under the larger top muscle and sticking the ball in there. You're going to work through both internal and external rotation, also lifting and lowering. And then after that, you're going to go into a doorway chest stretch with some yes nods and some no nods, whilst you're breathing through the nose with your mouth shut, tongue pressed on the roof of the mouth. And plug that in combination with some face pulls. If you missed the face pull video that was up on Tuesday, you can check my feed. And with regular application, you can really start to combat some of the issues that come with this type of posture. Even if you've just got to tie up the back and neck all the time, this is something that will definitely help. So I hope you've got something out of this, and I'll see you next week for another Tonic Thursday. Ciao.